Hello the internet, and welcome to a special NAIDOC Week edition of the CNRL Library Innovation Studio home workshops, where we show you how to grow your own veggie patch. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're not going to be looking at vegetables, we're going to be looking at native grasses. We're going to show you how to plant lomandra. It's often said that lomandra thrives on neglect, and this isn't really true. It's a bit of a false perspective. We're used to struggling with our veggie patch and vegetables because none of the plants we've been planting lately are natives. These are native plants, so naturally they're going to do well when they're already in their own environment. They're supposed to be here. So long as you have something that's native to your region, they're going to grow just fine. We've introduced a challenge by deciding to plant them in the ground rather than just letting them propagate naturally. So the only challenge we have is making sure we put them in the right position and we treat them right on planting. After that, they should pretty much take care of themselves. So for this workshop, all you're going to need is your lomandra seedlings, a spoon, and either a pot to plant it in or a plan on where your lomandra is best suited to go. Most lomandra like full sun to half shade, so consider that when picking your spot for planting it or for picking your spot to put your pot. When planting lomandra, there's very few rules. When you dig the hole, make sure you dig it as deep as the roots of the lomandra grow, but twice as wide. Let's check ours out. Give the pot a little bit of a squeeze, and out it comes. Look at that, it's pretty pot bound already. So for this to go in, I'm going to take some of this dirt back out. Place it in my pot, and then fill the edges, because my pot is twice as wide as this root system already is. There we go. A little bit deeper. So now I'm going to backfill just to the level of the dirt that came with the plant. Just do it loosely. The whole point of having the hole twice as wide is that we make a loose soil area for the roots to spread out through. Lomandra have amazing root systems. They spread out under the ground into a sort of mat, holding the plant into place but also stopping soil erosion. If you've got lots of slopes and things, lomandra is great to plant on there, as it'll help your garden retain its interesting shape. Now, to make sure this establishes itself, doesn't matter what lomandra plant you have, we want to keep the soil moist just for a couple of weeks. So every day, if it hasn't rained, give it a bit of a water. It doesn't need an awful lot of water. This is probably the most water you're ever going to give it when it's first been planted. What you're going to do is come out and you're going to just test the soil with your fingers. If it feels moist, if it looks anything like this, then you know it doesn't need any water. If it looks anything like this, my goodness, you definitely don't need any water. If it's absolutely bone powder dry, give it a little bit of water, maybe just as much as we gave it today. But once those 2 weeks are up, your lomandra plant should manage quite well on its own if you've got it in the right environment. Okay, now I'm planting the lomandra that doesn't mind dry conditions and is extremely drought resistant. Been looking for an excuse to use this gigantic pot for about 10 years now, and I'm very pleased to have something worthwhile putting into it. While I'm doing that, I may as well talk about why lomandra. Well, lomandra, being a native, is very good for attracting native species back into your garden. The bees love the pollen when it flowers. It'll attract all sorts of good insects to your garden. The skinks love it as well because they're attracted by the insects for them to eat. And skinks are extremely good for your veggie patch too, because they'll keep down the snails and slugs. If you planted them in the right position, they'll always be hardy during a drought, and we certainly had plenty of those. Okay, and as before, give your pot a bit of a squeeze, and it should come out very easily. Okay, my hole's a little too deep, I'll just backfill that just a little bit. There we go. And just loosely push the soil in. Nice. That's going to look magnificent when it gets bigger. So the rule is, make sure the soil is moist. Don't actually water it every day, just make sure the soil is moist. If it needs water, water it. If it doesn't, leave it alone. And 2 weeks after that, you can pretty much just let them grow because they're in their natural, native environment. They're supposed to thrive here. They're going to do just fine with the weather the way it is. And that's it. We hope you enjoyed this special NAIDOC Week edition of the CNRL Library Innovation Studio Veggie Patch Workshops, and we hope you enjoy all the skinks and bees and other native insects and lizards that your lomandra plants bring to your garden and to your veggie patch. Please like, share and subscribe so you and others can join us on the next CNRL Library Innovation Studio online workshop. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the usual places at Innovation Stew or hashtag Innovation Stew. And check the Home Workshops page on innovationstew.com.au for extra resources. See you next time and happy gardening.